How's everybody else?
Everyone I associate with is thriving in abundance, limitless.
To the ethos, it's Hallie. Hello, welcome. I'm Hallie, and I'm here to try to redo my video that I had previously done directly after the Aces victory against the Dallas Wings. Now, let me start off by saying I discovered during the course of listening to the game that Tierra McCowan is under contract with a European team. Thusly, she is no longer with the Dallas Wings for the time being to satisfy her contractual obligations abroad. Now, that's a different conversation for another day where her obligations abroad are more advantageous or valuable or pressing for whatever reasons than her commitment to the WNBA. Says much about the WNBA itself. But let's get into it. Jackie had 28 points. Jewel in the first half was her time to shine. She was hitting it. She was believing in herself. She was loving her game. So was I loving her game. I'm telling you, every time she loved her game, then I love her game. Because she got to love it first. She got to believe in her. She was bang, bang, boogie. They was setting up plays for her to come off picks to get her open. She was taking the shots with confidence and squaring up and setting them down. And then in the fourth quarter, we're under the 4-minute mark, because in between, in the third and even the fourth, she was acquiring some injuries along the way, even to the point where when Dejanay hit her in the head after one play, she had to go in the back in the locker room, and I don't believe she got back on the court till about under the 4-minute mark in the fourth quarter. But when she did return, she played a great brand of defense. It put me in the mind of Elena Beard. She was in that Elena Beard defensive stance. She got a couple of deflections. I think she got one on Paige Becker. And she took a charge, if I'm not mistaken, from Hines Allen. But she was in her zone, and she helped to change the trajectory of the game from the advantage of the effort of Aces. Because I'm going to get to it. There was other things that went into changing the trajectory of the game for the Aces. So the Aces was up for a while until they wasn't. And in the third quarter, when it appeared that the Dallas Wings had the drop in the third quarter on the Aces because they were forcing turnovers out the anus. It didn't even look like they wanted to pass to each other how they was turning over the ball. It was as if they were running plays, and once the play didn't go through, they would just automatically dissolve in the hero ball. And some people who was trying to be the hero was not meant, nor never meant to be the hero in those instances. It should only be left to Jackie, Jewel, and Chelsea. But I have to admit something when it comes to Chelsea. Chelsea does appear to be a step slow, and I would like to know, is she hurt, or has the injuries affected her? Also, during that third, it appeared like Chelsea was a part of them all, because they all were sputtering. No matter who you call on that team in the third quarter, they all sputtered. But I hold Chelsea in such high regards that my question is, what was it that happened in the third? What was it specifically? Was she going through? Did she not see? Did she see and did have the ability to affect? What was it? Come the fourth, even though I gave Jewel her praises as she deserves her praises, she had about 20 points, or a little over 20 if I'm not mistaken. But Jackie was hurt, and Jackie had the 28. And in the fourth, Jackie was the one who turned into Jackie. It was takeover time around in the third, throughout the fourth. It was, she had her charger to the basket moments, drawing the fouls. She was a actual gladiator. gladiator amongst young ladies. It just was not fair, the strength she's imposing on these young ladies. And I want her to make up her mind every time. And like I said before, your paycheck is permission. Also, I saw there were pockets. I'm not going to say pockets. I'm going to say there was a consistency of effort on the behalf of the Aces throughout this whole game. It just was that there were times it wasn't steady effort. It was very anxious and haphazard, particularly in the third. I'm never coming off that third. That third was cringy. It was a point where I was watching it and it was like, not like this, not like this. Because it was outrageous. Anywho, they came through to some degree with a great deal of effort. Dana Evans was picking up her defense, even Coach Peck during her commentary. And I want to say this too. A lot of people be getting down on the commentators in the WNBA, and a lot of them is well deserved. But as far as Coach Peck, I always appreciate her commentary. You can hear her excitement for the game and the X's and O's that she sees as she is calling the game. And it's a true affinity for the product that she's calling. But to the point that Coach Peck made in the beginning of the first quarter, they were picking up defense much earlier in the possession. And Dana was doing so when she was getting her number called. And Tiffany was drawing a lot of fouls. Tiffany Mitchell, she came in and put her head down at some point and continued to draw contact along the way. She infused a bunch of effort that I felt like helped along with Jewel and Jackie's effort to change the momentum and the score of the game. Overall, I would say that I'm not going to be too negative on them in their victory. You know what I'm saying? Because they were victorious. But we must be honest. Let me go back. So in, I believe, the fourth quarter, now mind you, I believe Dallas has a whip. And their losing is not necessarily always attributed to the competition that they have in front of them. And case in point, in the fourth, where Dejanay gets addressed with the one who caused the turnover, and she wanted her coach to review the call, and he didn't. She opted to stay on that end of the court and argue with her coach about him not making a decision to review the call. And in that, the Aces had an advantage that helped change the momentum in their direction. Even though Dallas was slight up, which to my opinion, just as a lowly spectator, if you are up and the coach is saying, I'm not going to risk the timeout and allow the time to call a review for something that we could get past very easily in the next possession. We could just get it in the next possession with good defense because it didn't really harm nothing to just change possessions with us being up, in my view. Let's just be head down on the next possession and I could get to save my timeouts for the end of the game. But instead, you forfeit the possession completely just to have the conversation with the coach. And then in a subsequent possession, I don't know if it was directly after that, Dejanay makes a bad foul that helps guarantee that the tides will turn in the favor of the Aces, to the point where it appeared that the coach was about to cry. He looked like he was in tears, and I felt for him. And I don't know what the issue is that would encourage Dejanay to make that decision and forfeit all the effort you put in from the first to the second to the third and even up until that point in the fourth quarter, to forfeit all of that to argue with the coach about him not challenging it and then compounding the decision by going down to the other end and making a bad foul. And then on top of that, you see the coach. Now, don't have the audio because I'm just watching it and they didn't give us the audio. But you see him trying to employ Paige to do something. And I would assume, and this puts me in a bad position to make an assumption, but I would assume he was employing her to try to get Dejanay back on board with whatever their efforts was to try to maintain them being up in the game. Even if Paige is mature enough to do this, even if Paige can do this, it should not be. Dallas Wings could have had a quality win against a quality team, and they forfeited it with decisions like that. Comical how the crowd was reacting like live audience to a bad sitcom. That's how poorly the Aces played in the third and some of the fourth. So when they ultimately squeak out this victory with Jewel hitting that one of the final threes, it was that shot that kind of really put the nail in the coffin. But up until then, the limbo that the Aces was in, as far as a game that could have very easily should have them jail with each other and have them become more trusting, it would appear, and become more orchestrated and choreographed when carrying out their plays, because that third was cringy. And I know y'all are better than that third. For as much as y'all did, and y'all celebrated hard, but no, y'all celebrated hard against the not even Connecticut. Y'all celebrated hard against Dallas Wings. I know we over 500. I'm glad for us. We gonna be 6-4, good Lord willing, after Sunday. But this is a gut check.
Now it's the chemistry.
This is a time to get the choreography. Y'all got to come off script. When you fail the first play, the second play is in rotation. And we already know what that is. When that fail, the third play coming through. When the third play come through, Jackie come through. She played up to herself, and she is what I've been asking for. The one who plays the in between the stats, the deflections, and get the loose balls. And she's the one who saved that possession for Jewel. And to the ethos, tell the future I said so.